Hi, guys, and welcome to another week episode of Divas Talk as Sisters podcast. I apologize in advance. I'm really feeling under the weather, but I wanted to bring this episode to you guys week 10 because we're almost done. So, regardless of how I'm feeling, I am going to present it, and I'm going to present it with a smile. Thanks again for joining. If you're first time joiner, go back and check out the other episodes and then come back because this is episode 10 and I would want you to be caught up on where we're going with each one of the episodes. I'm so grateful that you joined. If you haven't and you are not a visual person and you want to just listen to it with headphones, I have it on Spotify and Anchor. You're more than welcome to go check it out as Divas Talk as Sisters podcast. All 12-week episodes are there. Like I said, it's verbal. So put your headphones in or sit at a computer and listen to it. Whichever works best for you, just to kind of watch it, listen to it, and get caught up on it and join in with us. Because this is a community joining to speak like general population speak about daily things that go on in our lives, different situations that someone may relate to that's similar as mine, or that somebody can assist and help throughout this time. You know how I do it. I have to go and rewind back to week 1. Week 1 was, do you need a self-check? Girl, do you need a self-check at that? It's where you check yourself at the door. You can't come to someone and you're not correct. So make sure you correct yourself first. Second episode was stuff your mama never told you. A lot of things I'm not going to just say mom, our parents didn't tell us. But who was more of the hardball? Who was more of the S on the chest? The Wonder Woman. It was the mom. So I say stuff that your mom never told you, due to her trying to preserve you or savage your heart from heartbreak, or knowing or expecting something as you grow old. And a lot of times parents just don't want their children to know that just yet or that quite. But it's okay because we still all have to experience it, and it is worth the experience. Week 3 was Sister Soul Conversations. It's where you tapped into your conversation with your spirits and your souls and the universe. And if you haven't, it's time to go and do it. It's so peaceful, just knowing and opening up your mind and just tapping into that. It's a great thing to do. Go back and listen to the episodes, and you'll understand a little bit more what happens during that time. Episode 4 was second chances. Everybody deserves a second chance because God gives us second chances after chance after chance after chance. It never stops. However, when you continue to make the same mistakes, second chances are priceless. I wouldn't continue to do the same thing for the same mistake, but it's basically up to you. Does that make that person learn from that mistake if they continue to do the same one? No. Does that person say, okay, I promise this won't happen like this again, but something similar to that happens? It's the same mistake. So it's basically up to you on your forgiving process, but if it's the same mistake, I don't think that a second chance should be taken. But again, that's up to how you forgive. Episode 5 was a thing or two about a diva. A lot of times people consider divas as being, like I said, bougie, or they think they better than everybody else, but that's not the definition of this DIVA. Okay, not at all. That's not where I'm going with it. I'm going to whereas people can love themselves. They can actually be an individual in their own skin and learn to love themselves first. But their style, their class, the way they talk, their hair, the way they dress, the way they even decorate. I mean, everybody's different. whether it's a male or a female. Diva does not just have to be a female, especially now in this day and age. So, hey, DIVA is what it is. Episode 6 was Girl, Was We Sleep or Was Our Head on a Desk During History Class? This is where a lot of times we sleep on our history. Why? We wasn't taught it as a young child. So now we're older and we've learned things in school about history, and now we want to know our history. So it's time to research, pull out those books, pull out them ancestries, pull out those questions, go back to the roots to figure out where you come from so that you can educate your child or your grandchild or just family members alone, because a lot of people take in their nieces and nephews and raising grandkids. I mean, it varies, but you have to know the story in order to educate them on the story so that they can educate their next generation. Episode 7 was Call Your Girlfriend, because I don't roll like that. That's when you put yourself in a situation, and for everybody it may be different, but you're at a vulnerable stage to where it's easy accessible to open your heart, to open your mind to a person who can take advantage of you being vulnerable and naive at the moment. Sometimes people get into situations such as dealing with married men, and it may seem good because they're taking care of you. They're doing things better than they do with their wives or their husband, vice versa. And you feel comfortable with that, but know this. That's not going to last. You know, you have to come to a point to where you realize you want your own person, not a shared person. So wake up, get strong, and say, no, enough is enough. Go call your girlfriend or your wife, because I don't roll like that. Episode 8 was Nice to Finally Meet You, Diva. It's where you finally open your heart to be the real you, to allow yourself to genuinely receive love just like you genuinely give out love. It's where you find that special someone that you're willing to spend the rest of your life with, because you finally found genuine happiness. You finally found that peace. You finally found that one that's worth staying up late to talk on the phone all night, worth staying up late wondering where they're at if you haven't talked to them. It's worth so many more things that God has already written this out to you, that this person is for you. This was destined for you. And how do you know that? Because there's a feel that you feel that you've never felt before. It's a reaction on how you never reacted before. Your body language, your smile, your happiness, everything is different. Not saying that you've never been there, but stating that it's a different there, if I make sense. Episode 9. Episode 9 was Dig, Dug, Diva. We always allow ourselves to keep digging deeper into situations that some people can't get out of. Deep women or men have deep feelings. They know how to deeply love. They want deep consistency. They want deep emotions. They want so many things that you have to dig deep for, because on some level some people has been so scorned to whereas they love a person, then they're in love with the person, but are they deeply in love with the person? So stop planting seeds that's going to have the same outcome when you grow it. Grow a different seed, grow a different plant, bloom out to have something different, a different garden, a different heart, a different outlook on a lot of things that you may think is hard, because nothing's easy. It does come with consequences. It is hard, but at a point to whereas you have to be strong enough to crawl out of it. So stop digging yourself deeper into a situation. Now let's get into the episode for today, which is episode 10. It is A Secret Life of a Diva. And what I mean by secret is not she's around here cheating, she's doing this and she's doing that, she's holding secrets from her friends and her family. That's not what I mean about this topic. What I mean about this topic is secretly holding things in about you and who you are. It's time to release yourself. Give yourself love, self-worth, self-care so that everybody else can reflect. And anything that comes around you during that time is going to have such a great and positive impact and reflection on who you are now, to whereas it'll escalate to who they need to be or where they want to be. Because everybody wants to be happy. Everyone deserves to be happy. It's just how you get to your happiness. And you know how I do it. I have to do my research and write my notes down and everything so that I can make sure that I am doing and saying everything that I'm speaking. Keep in mind, when I speak and write these things down, it's coming straight from the head. It's nothing that I'm making up or I heard from someone else. These were already written because I did do it verbally on Spotify and Anchor. So yes, I'm reiterating everything that I spoke about to a visualized one. But it's the same thing I spoke about in the verbal one. So again, what's up, divas and divettes or diva dudes or whatever it is or whomever it is that's joining in today with me as Diva Talks as Sisters, episode 10. A Secret Life of a Diva. During this podcast, I love doing these podcasts, and I love the fact that I have my listeners, whoever is listening. If you're not listening and you're listening at a later time, that's perfectly fine as well. But go to my page and like and share. Even if you don't like, it's a sisterhood, you know. Pretend you like it. Subscribe and share, because it's all in who you know with growth. In this society, I see that a lot of people are not willing to help that other person. I don't get paid for this. I do this from the kindness of my heart. I love this. But my story can be somebody else's story and can help them throughout their story. So it's not something that, like I said, I'm clocking a time clock or getting paid for to do this. I'm not. Even when I did it verbally, I'm not. I just love the fact of helping people. That's my heart. And to give back. What's wrong with helping? Liking, subscribing, and sharing. That's all I'm asking you guys to do. But, hey, I'm not going to beg anybody to do anything, like I said. It's perfectly up to you. Find it in your heart after you listen to it. If you feel, hey, she deserves it for effort. She deserves it for getting things together and speaking about some of the things that life endures. It's a great thing to help people. A lot of people, I listen to a lot of stories with a lot of people committing suicide nowadays, and some of the parents say, well, we spoke to them, we tried to get them help, but they don't listen. But you have to watch the signs. You have to be very observant on the difference in their body language, and they changing. It's so much that you can be observant and pay attention to, just like we pay attention to our jobs because we make a payroll check, right? That relationship you're in, whether it's your husband, your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, you're staying focused. You know when something's off. Hey, what's going on? You all right? So you know the difference. Know the difference in your children and in your family members so that you can try to catch it before it happens. And that's part of my story. That's why I'm out here trying to spread my word and my story to help someone who is afraid to spread theirs, or someone who hasn't had that opportunity to speak about it and took their life, and now they're in heaven or wherever they may be. Okay, so let's get back into this. I'm presenting this episode today, A Secret Life of a Diva, because when I left off with Dig Dug Diva, a lot of times we have problems with burying stuff, okay? Let's just say you're in a relationship and you're with someone who has repeatedly hurt you with the same thing, and you've forgiven him or her over and over and over again. And they don't grasp the concept to know that because it's not you, you don't feel how I feel. You don't hurt like I hurt. But at some point, karma comes on a first name basis, okay? Don't have a last name, just a first name. Karma, capital Karma. So karma can be an itch. So take that into consideration. What you do to someone, you reap what you sow. So I'm speaking about this today, and like I said, I have to go to my notes because I want to make sure that I can speak about the things that I researched and I've looked up. You know how cats have 9 lives. This is what they say. I actually don't see a cat die and then here come the next life or here come the next life. Or if that's true, do they come back the same person? You can have 9 lives, but it may be a different life, to whereas you may not even remember that last life you had, or you can, but you come in a different shade of skin or a different color. So it just varies on when we speak about the different lives. When I spoke on my podcast verbally, I speak about everything in life we go through. We have trials, tribulations, tests. We all go through that. But the first thing that we do, God is testing us. He's testing us to make sure that we are, or not only His kids, but to know that things that we know better than to do, we should not do. But do we do that? No. I'm actually guilty for that. I can tell you that a lot of things I know better, but I still put myself in that situation. And believe me, God whips your butt from it. If you've heard my previous podcast, I got my butt whipped behind a situation that I knew better of doing, but I continued to do it because I thought I was better than God, and I was, he's not gonna be mad at me. He ain't gonna punish me. Lies I told, because you will get it. So I say that to say, like, have you ever had a dream of or a desire of someone else's life? Like, we see these big things on TV, these shows, and we know TV may be real. They have some documentaries and some shows that is based on a life of someone, but it's not every detail. It's encrypted a little bit to make the story seem more real, or to make the story not justify that person of being as wrong as they were. But I will say this. I watched this show, a Tyler Perry show on BET Plus called Eden. Guys, I swear to God, I feel like Eden is my role. I was like, okay, TP, you forgot about me. That was my role right there. I am so much of Eden. I'm not saying that I actually put a cap in somebody and kill them, but you can kill a person silently and don't even know it. So I say that to say, I watched the whole season 1 in 3 days. I watched the whole season 2 in about 3 days, and there was 20 episodes. So that can explain to you a little bit on how deep I was into that show. It's her role. It was about her certainty, about how she helped people, even if it was a negative way, even if it was a way it was wrong, she still took care of it. They called her Madam. It's like a goddess, because to them she was a god. Anything that happened, Madam can take care of it. Let me call Madam. Everything was about Madam being that role model. And we go through that a lot of times with our mothers as being our madams. That's more of my role. And I looked at it, and I looked at every episode. Now, eliminate the strippers part. Yeah, they are hot. They were some fine bodies. But I don't care for strippers like that. I really don't. I'm like, ew, they kind of sweaty. But if I had the opportunity, I went to a paint party with a couple of my friends a couple of years ago, and just so happened the 2 strippers had to be from where I was born and raised from. And they come out there, and you're supposed to be painting these guys, but they're dancing around butt naked. How can you focus with somebody around you butt naked, and 2 men, like jumping on tables and grabbing you and caressing and finessing and all kind of stuff? How can you focus? But anyway, erase the part of the strippers. The part that I am trying to get in detailed about is her role. her role was amazing. I am so I'm looking so forward to season 3. I can't wait. It has to be a season 3. But it's just like she's not afraid of anything. That's me. Nothing. I take chances. She take chances. She took chances, and the things that she did, she never really looked about or thought about the consequences afterwards. She just was thinking about the moment. I need to take care of this. I have to do this. I have to help this person. She spoke her mind. She spoke from the heart, and she meant everything that she said. Reminds me of me. So it's a lot of things that I am working on, but like I said, TP, you did that, because that, man, I loved that the Eden. It was just great. But let me back on topic, because I'll be speaking about that movie. I love it. Also, like certain shows that come on TV, you have like a lot of the pastors. I love my pastors and everything like that, but lately you've been having a lot of pastors stealing money from the church, or doing things inappropriately according to the church. But we have to realize that pastors are still men of flesh, okay? Yes, they are trained to speak the word of God. They are trained to deliver the message to us so that we can spiritually be connected not only to them but to God as well. Because why? They're pastors. We put our trust and our faith into them like we do God, because they're supposed to be the second to chain of command from God. But when they do things that violate that title, it makes us second guess who this person really is. And then sometimes we have them doing things that a pastor's not supposed to be doing into the church. We have some fooling around with the women in the church. We have some taking the money to buy luxury items. We have some of them that's on the kilolo. I mean, it's a numerous of things that pastors do, and they have to understand that they're going to have to repent for their sins just as well as we would if we were doing it. So sometimes you have to take the choices that you take into consideration to know that everybody holds a secret. Things that you see outside, or stories that you've heard outside of it, it may be somewhat of the story, but is it all of the story? No. There are some things that people limit to speaking about because of past hurt or because of past embarrassments. Like a lot of times people was on crack and they've recovered, and they just don't want people to know that they were on crack. Or some people were dancers, strippers, hookers, but they just don't want people to know that type of their life, and they have that right. They can do that because that's their secret. That's their secret. Sometimes you have situations and circumstances that you have to deal with, like these baby daddies or baby mamas. Sometimes these women are out here having babies from one person, and this person thinks that this baby is theirs, but when the baby is born or close to being born, they're scared. So now I have to tell the truth that, hey, it could possibly be someone else's baby as well. So that's secrets. That's things that you hold inside because of embarrassment. I watch a lot of movies, and you see some of these girls, they hide their pregnancy throughout their whole pregnancy, and when it's time for birth, they go and deliver these babies in bathrooms or clinic, or want to give the babies away so that people won't know that they ever were pregnant. That takes courage. That takes a heart to even deliver that baby and do whatever you want to do with it. But there are some people that hold secrets like that. So, I mean, it's numerous of secrets that can be held. Like, a lot of times I'll use this as an example. My father, on his deathbed, as he was transitioning, he came to me and my oldest brother, and he spoke. He was like, basically saying he held inside that his biological father had killed his mother, and he's seen it. And because he made a sound from hiding his father seen him and shot at him. And from that moment, he ran away from home and he never went back because of being afraid of his father, that his father was going to kill him. He was just openly, he said, my mom wanted me to tell, I gotta release this before I go to heaven. He had been holding that burden inside of his heart for so long. Can you imagine being a 8-year-old kid and having to run away from home and holding the secret of seeing your dad strangle your mom during childbirth to 2 twins that he decided to give away? Come on now, that's hurtful. If that wouldn't have killed him alone, and that didn't explain the reason why he acted out the way he did from a young child, that explains it all. People hold secrets and they act out within these secrets. So a lot of things make sense and come into play. I remember when we were young, you had that puppy love, and you were in the classroom and you had that one guy that you just had that crush on, or a girl you had that crush on. I used to have boys in the classroom. My mom used to plait our hair in long plaits with these big old barrettes and ribbons, and boys in the classroom, I was so tender-headed, but boys in the classroom would just yank on my hair, and I'm like, stop. And I was such a tomboy when I was in school, to whereas I would want to beat them up, and I'm like, leave my hair alone. But deep down inside, that's the ones you really liked, you had the crush on. That's just the way you acted it out, and you're it's a secret, you're not telling anybody. And you had that one little boy that wrote you a note with, do you want to be my girlfriend? And it got this square box and say yes, check yes or no or maybe, and you check which box and you give that paper back to him. So you're secretly dating him, and nobody really know until they see the actions or reactions that you're doing in school. They be like, oh, that's your girlfriend, that. So they get to start doing things like that, and that's how it comes out in the open. But that is also a secret. So it's numerous of ways that you can have secrets, and you have to realize that I'm so sorry guys, like I said, I like to try to put everything that I write about and talk about into the podcast, but sometimes you have to realize that comparing your stories to somebody else's story, if it's not their story, it can be similar to your story, or they could know somebody that is going through your stories. I don't know if you ever had this to happen, to whereas you're sitting here and you're talking about, and this happens to me all the time. I meet this person, or I know somebody that I'm sitting down, we're talking, and all of a sudden they say, oh, that happened to me. Dang, I just was talking about that. I just said that. God has a sense of humor. And he brings those people together so that they can open up and they can speak about certain things that they have been holding inside, and they don't have that other particular person to speak about, or that person that they're not comfortable enough to speak to about the situation. So it can be different. A lot of times people are embarrassed to say certain things. I know when I was young, I used to be embarrassed for saying a lot of stuff. I was a really, really shy girl when I was younger, and when I branched out, I'm not sure, but I did. I got to the point to where I had a voice, and it was time to be heard. Instead of holding everything in, I allowed people to tell me what to do instead of doing what I wanted to do. I allowed people to direct and regulate my life instead of doing what I wanted to do and what direction I wanted to go in. I let people hold me back from me personally getting my growth and where I should be or already been. But due to circumstances, you tend to, you value and you worship what, I'm not gonna say worship because that's more of a God word. You idolize them as your love mate, your partner, and when they tell you their excuse, you think about it like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. But then in reality, it's like, no, they're holding you back because they don't want you to succeed. They're jealous, or they can't do what you do, so they don't want you to do it. But to me, if you're together, it's a team. So team is a team, correct? So you'll have that that you deal with on as far as secrets and holding back. That's also a part of secrets, because your dreams, a lot of times your dreams, you don't want to share your dreams with somebody, because sometimes people take your dreams and they run with your dreams, and you like, I told you that, how you gonna take my stuff and you gonna use, and that happens in a lot of situations nowadays. So be careful who you express your secrets to and your things that you want to do. Keep that up here until you have that vision, until you have that set to whereas you're ready to do you, and then speak about it. Surprise and do a shebang on them, like, hey, I'll show you when it's done, and have it done. But to go back to second chances, since it is a little bit dealing with secrecy about someone who holding secrets, when you go back and you're doing those second chances, those people may hold those secrets even after you've given them a second chance, because it was the same mistake. They'll hold that, and then later you find out that they did that. How do you deal with a situation like that? Do you come back, even if it's a year ago, and let's say a love child was made out of that situation, and you go back, do you now say, oh yeah, it happened a year ago, but it's too late now, I've already forgiven him for it? But how can you forgive something if you didn't even know about it? It's a secret. That defiles the trust right there for me, because you held that secret for that long. And then a child comes out of that, and you're stuck dealing with that child or raising that child because of their stupidity, should I say, in that chance that they know they didn't deserve. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that you have to think about as well, but to me, expressing who you are, being more verbal and communicating, more visual in what you want into your life, it's the best ever. You no longer have to hold secrets, about who you are. You're beautiful inside and out. Speak it. Let it be known. Don't worry about what somebody say about you. Don't worry about if they judge you. Don't worry about none of that foolishness, because nobody can judge you but that man up there. He's the one. And if he ain't judging you and he started forgiving you and letting you progress and grow, then guess what? It don't matter about nobody else. Hello. It don't matter about nobody else. And I had to learn that a hard way, but now I'm to the point to whereas I've learned that. I've grown from that. And I'm doing me. I'm loving me. And you can love you and do the same thing. You have to have dignity for yourself. Respect for who you are yourself. If you constantly letting someone else disrespect you, where's your respect for yourself? You're not going to have it, because that's all you know is disrespect. So build that strength up first to know that you can be strong and not tolerate somebody belittling you, somebody who's chopping your self-esteem down and not making you feel like what you're worth and what you deserve. Let all that foolery go. My best friend said that the other day. We on the phone and she said foolery, and I say, foolery? Where'd that come from? I never heard that word foolery, but she said, yeah, foolery. I say, oh, I like that. I'm going to use that. So, Ingrid, I like that word foolery. So, I use the word foolery. But, you deal with different promises and secrecies that, people say, oh, you confided in them and you talked to them and you told them your secret. But then next thing you know, your girl Linda over here done told Paula, and then now Paula done told Lisa, and Lisa done told Susan, and everybody freaking knows your story. It's like, well, I only told that to you, so how did all these people know? So that goes to show you that they don't hold a secret. And it could be months later, it could be even years later, and they held that secret, not telling you until a confrontational event happened, and then they openly expressed what they knew, which means not only are you ashamed, not only are you embarrassed, but now you can't trust that person that you actually told that secret to, right? So secrets are secrets, like I said. And I'm sure we all have one. And I'm going to finish up a little bit with my Q&As. You know, guys, I always have my questions just to see how someone else reacts. So my first question was, have you ever felt like a push or a slap or a punch or shut the fuck up, excuse my French, or a itch, F you? Have you ever felt like a person that spoke to you in that way, in that tone, truly and genuinely love you? Or is that just the way they expressed their love? Because if that is, then something is deeply rooted wrong with them. Think about that. Question 2. Have you had to deal with a mass manipulating person that takes his lie and make you believe his lie and he believe his own lie? And you have these situations that now you're like, I don't know if he's lying or it's the truth, or am I wrong or am I right? I mean, you just don't. One second, guys. Okay, guys, I'm so sorry. That was my honey calling, so I had to make sure that I answered that call really quick. So, but I'm back. So, another question was, do you have that person that tries to control your thought process, the way you should do things, the way you should dress, the way you should speak, your etiquetteness, if you do, that's somebody trying to control who you are, and you're in control of your own life. This is you. God gave it to you, so you shouldn't have to be like someone's puppet, like on the string, like doing this. Remember the puppets and stuff like that? You shouldn't have to feel like that at all. Some people just don't have enough courage to know that they're in charge of their own self. Nobody else. You don't need anybody's permission to be who God designed you to be. Remember that. And my last Q&A for today is, how did you make a change in your life? Okay, what did you do different in your life that moving forward that you can see self-growth, that you now know that my self-esteem used to be here, but now my self-esteem is there, and it's steady growing. So think about those questions. And again, thank you for joining Divas Talk as Sisters podcast. It was wonderful having you guys join in again. Oh, I just love you, love you, love you. 2 more episodes to go, guys, and we're finished with season 1. Oh my God, it's been a long time, because in the process of redoing visually my seasons after verbally doing it, I'm also starting season 2. I've already done 3 episodes in season 2, so it's gonna be on a different level, different topics. So I'm excited about that one too, getting that one together. So that's why a lot of my thoughts, like, oh, what is this episode, what is that episode, because I have so many going on, I have so much going on and everything, but I love it. Wouldn't trade it for nothing. Join me again on next week for another Divas Talk as Sisters podcast, and that's going to be episode 11. So I'm excited to be doing that again with you. And I don't say bye, I say see you next time. I see you next time.